test. I've performed these tests on over 100 different phones, mostly level 3, glass at level 6, and sapphire would be an 8 or a 9, with diamonds following at a level 10. Play. Thumbs up for that. The sides of the phone are metal, which does provide a pixel front-facing camera, and all the high-tech sensors for the face scanning feature are protected against scratching, as the mechanism actuates. Only fitting to start this fire right on the weather app, since it's so hot outside and only getting hotter. The 6.4-inch 1080p display is phones I test survived, even the previous motorized Vivo Nex. Commencing the bend on the Oppo Find X, I instantly knew something was wrong with this phone. It bent way too far, and never locked out or stopped bending like most phones do. Some parts of the phone can handle the flex, like the metal frame, but one thing that can't handle the flexing is the rigid and brittle AMOLED display panel. That display underneath the glass cracks, rendering the screen pretty useless since the colors now have a mind of their own. The back panel starts lifting off, and both the front and rear glass shatter into oblivion. You might be thinking, yeah, of course it broke, you just bent it in half. But keep in mind that over 90% of the phones I get my hands on are strong enough to withstand this exact same abuse, and go on. Inside the box, we get our first look at the ocean green version. To my surprise, the Oppo Reno started scratching at a level 3. They very effectively hit a high-quality screen top, also made of metal. The hole at the top is probably just a microphone hole, but we'll have to check it out from the inside, since you know that's what's happening with all the flagships these days. I thought I was buying the cooler 10x zoom pixels turned a slight tinge of white, and never quite recovered. But it's pretty hard to notice this blimp. Front, we get a dangerous amount of rear glass panel separation. This shows just how little water resistance the phone has. The adhesive on the back glass panel is pretty weak. In normal situations, of course, it'll hold the glass panel on just fine, but the adhesive definitely can't be trusted to keep liquid out. When bent from the front, the Reno does have some flex, but no catastrophic damage or kinks in the frame. The more inexpensive of the two Oppo Renos survived this durability test. Pretty sweet looking phone with a whole top half motored up to reveal things. I thought I was all done with that after graduating school. Style underneath the front glass, but it's pretty secure and won't be falling out on its own. The real selling point, the frame is made from metal. You can see the silver glinting underneath the gold paint, along with the metal power. One unique thing this phone does have. Vegan leather is a fancy way of saying that it's not actually leather. It's just a polyurethane imitation of leather. But it's vegan leather for the seats in their vehicles. Vegan leather is not as scratch resistant as glass is, though, and it does not enjoy coming into contact with sharp objects. You can see the orangey pink coloring start to scratch off with my razor blade, exposing the white plasticky stuff underneath. And I don't think a dbrand skin would stick to it very well either. But it still does look rather peachy, don't you think? If one of those cool side-mounted 13-megapixel 5x optical zoom almost every smartphone in existence right now only displays 17 million colors, which is all fine and very normal. But this guy, just like the OnePlus 8 Pro, can take me to explain the color thing. Nice. Now for the bend test. If you remember from the original Find X durability test, that phone just never stopped bending. There was no structural rigidity due to the independent mechanical halves. This time around, though, the solid metal frame does have a minor flex right around the power button area, but there's no catastrophic damage or permanent kinks to the frame. And, most importantly, no cracks to the front glass. Oppo is playing it extremely safe this year. Even with that vegan leather and the 10-bit screen, though, I have a feeling this phone is just going to blend in with the rest of the rectangles out there pretty quick. With Oppo being one of the largest smartphone manufacturers in the world, I was kinda hoping they would keep this Find X lineup of phones filled with crazy unique designs, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I'll keep my fingers crossed for the Find X3 next year. I do have a question for you though, even a flagship. As we can see with the exterior screen, the top layer is plastic, a Platinum 3. We knew this was coming, but it's still a little crazy how soft it is. Fingernails is also protecting a 32-megapixel hole punch selfie camera, and the sides of the phone are made from metal. The lines you see left behind on the glass are actually little pieces of my razor blade. The level 6 glass is actually sanding down my level 5 stainless steel. Instead of my knife durability testing the phone glass, though, I do wish more phones had it. As far as cameras go, we have a 13-megapixel telephoto camera up top, 50 meg less visible due to the larger curve radius it has while closed. I know that crease is a deal breaker for some people, and Oppo has done a good job of hiding it. They also hide burns pretty well. Even after 30 seconds, the screen is still pretty wet, and actually only makes it 20 seconds before getting permanently damaged, which proves to us once again that nobody should be burning Oppo in ways that make you say, uh-oh. Oh, hold on, I almost forgot. Added for the dust test. With no official water resistance and 136 moving parts inside of the hinge, let's see how much of this dust can actually get inside. It makes me extremely nervous that there is no extra space between the two halves though. Kinda hard to shut it with all these rocks and pebbles inside. With all the obstructions, there's definitely a gap now. I'll slam it shut a few times, clean it off. But will the Oppo find and bend backwards and break? There's only one way to find out. No, no it will not. Sitting on this phone while open might slightly scratch or damage the soft inner screen, but structurally this Oppo Find N is solid. I'm still a bit shocked every time my folding phone doesn't snap in half though, it just seems like they should. Has this Find N moved phones from novelty to necessity though? I mean, it is cool, but until folding displays are on par with regular phones cost-wise, I think they remain solidly in the novelty realm. That's just my opinion though. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. And at around $300, I think this Realme 8 Pro falls into that category. An excessively loud design, which is pretty brave of them since I only need just one. Each color is equally loud. And luckily we can also protect it under that front glass. There is a small plastic grill up top and relatively small bezel made from plastic. You can see the darker material showing through after the paint has been scraped off. Would you look at that? A headphone jack. Just when I first pulled this phone out of the box, I thought it was made of glass, but it turns out that's not the case. I wasn't allowed to play a whole lot of video games growing up. Apparently, going outside and reading a book are more constructive and conducive to having healthy hobbies as an adult. That turned out real good. One game I was allowed to play though was Frogger, which I think matches perfectly with Realme's Dare to Leap slogan on the back. We'll call him Craig, and he's from Chernobyl. While this is a budget phone, one of its sensor up here in the stovetop looking camera setup. The square camera bump is made from plastic, covering the 108 megapixel Samsung built sensor is made of glass. This camera can shoot pictures that are than $300. And if you live in a really hot place, you'll be happy to know that the 6.4-inch 1080p AMOLED display lasts for 24 seconds under the heat from my lighter. And the bend test. An entirely plastic phone does make me nervous, but structural integrity depends on how it's made just as much as what it's made from. Bending from the back, we do get some normal flex, but the 8 Pro locks out and does not crack or snap. And bending from the front, we get the same thing. A little curvature, but no catastrophic damage. The Realme 8 Pro is a solid budget phone. I did hear one crack, but I don't see any physical damage from the outside, so we'll have to open her up and check out the insides. And of course, we gotta see how big that 108 megapixel Samsung sensor is as well. I'll be giving away Craig's two friends over on Twitter, the Illuminating Yellow and the Infinite Black.